Hello, how's it going everyone? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about overall audiences and how Pareto's principle comes into marketing and audiences and how to take advantage of the market in terms of what a lot of advertisers are doing and sort of find that untapped area that only the advanced marketers really lean into. And so anyways, kind of going into this right away, you'll see my amazing, awesome drawing here. It's not pixelated at all. That I didn't copy either, is a lake, and this represents essentially your ecosystem of people that have heard about your brand. So all these fish in here are essentially, you know, people that have heard of your brand and they're still swimming around in the awareness. They're not really knowing who you are, but they know of you per se. And then if you go into, you know, this over here, you'll see there's a little truck, and the truck is essentially just your stockpiling of the lake itself. Now, the lake doesn't really do much for you. It's just the awareness. And as, you know, you see, you know, these are all different kinds of fish. So maybe some fish will then go through the pipeline and we'll say, okay, the pipeline is, you know, they add to cart or whatever the case may be. They go further down the funnel per se. And then eventually convert into your P&Ls, right? So some fish are bigger than other fish, smaller, some are faster, slower, and so they kind of work through your pipeline at different rates or different speeds per se. And so what a lot of marketers do is they try to optimize the pipe itself and not necessarily the audience. And what I mean by that is that they're so focused on the bells and whistles inside of, you know, Google or Meta, right? Like they're looking at, oh, how can I, you know, show this report in a 5% better way or a 10% better way? How can I use this tool to make myself, you know, look great? Like I'm, you know, make Google ads look great and the pipeline look better. And they miss the real, you know, kicker of this all is that these platforms, yes, you can look at it to optimize the pipeline itself, but what a lot of marketers don't realize, and they don't necessarily do, is that these are all audience-based, and this feeds into your whole entire ecosystem, right? And so they just think, oh, there's, you know, a lot of fast fish going through my pipeline. I'm going to optimize for more fast fish. But the reality is, yes, there might be a slower fish, but the slower fish might be a lot cheaper to restock into the lake. Yes, it might be a little bit slower on converting. Yes, it might need a little bit more remarketing, right? So yes, you could change the pipeline a little bit to maybe, you know, help the fish get through the funnel. But the reality is some people just need to take some more time before they make a decision. And that's totally fine. That happens. Or just, you know, circumstantial stuff pops up. And so we don't know exactly, you know, the circumstances of each one of these fish or each one of these customers. However, we do know that the more of the fish that is converting that we stockpile into the lake or the ecosystem, the better it's going to be, right? And so what people tend to optimize for too much inside of these platforms is conversions, right? Like everyone just says, we're getting conversions, let's lean more into it, keep going. But the reality is, if you were to run, for example, you know, an audience that you know is going to convert, right? So you're aware of these kind of fish and you want to go find more of them, then you just want to focus on stockpiling. You're just going after new people that are visiting the site, right? And as long as those new people are engaging in the right way, like they're in the ecosystem, they're moving around, whatever the case may be, they're going to flow down that pipeline if they're showing similar signals to everyone else, right? And so a lot of people focus too much on optimizing, like I said, for conversions, and they're only focused on the pipeline and not focused on the actual stockpiling of the lake itself. And so, you know, when it's a race to, you know, who has the best, you know, pipe or whatever you call it, in this scenario here, it's a race to essentially the bottom, right? It's who can get the cheapest CPC, highest conversion rate, whatever the case may be. And most cases you find that people, when they do that, they optimize for warm traffic and they don't, you know, stockpile the lake again. Now, if I was an artist, I'd have another little lake over here and, you know, I'd have more visualization of, you know, pipes, but I feel like that'd be a little confusing. So anyways, the way that we like to think about this is Pareto's rule. So, you know, 20% causes 80%. And so what I mean by that is that if you focus on the audiences more so inside of, you know, Google, Facebook, and look at it from its actual cause and effect, meaning that your overall P&Ls, then you can effectively stockpile the lake in a more efficient way and have a way larger audience that's already aware of you, that will then slowly fall down the pipeline. And the cool thing about this that a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, when you build that awareness, like we're talking about, you have a fish that's a little bit slower, whatever the case may be, a fish that maybe is, I don't know, going to convert at a later time, or they're a big purchaser at one time. Those people actually flow in later when you've already maybe stopped marketing altogether, right? So let's just say you pulled the plug on the marketing side of it, and you're just, looking at the lake itself, and you're not really, pulling more people into it. You're just cycling in your already repeat traffic. You might find that your sales are going to continue for the next couple months or 3 months on like new customers, just because people have decided they want to buy your product now. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of delayed effects based on your audience. And so it's a very, very case-by-case basis with businesses. But I found that whenever we focus on stockpiling the lake versus optimizing the efficiency of capturing fish that are already in the lake, it makes things so much better. The business grows. You have so many other variables in here that will just pass through here that will increase your total P&Ls, which then increase your or decrease, I guess, your cost per acquisition, your overall conversions. And it's very hard to know exactly what each one of these fish are going to do. But I just know that when you look at, the actual input of which sort of customers are coming to you and what they're responding to mostly, it helps you optimize for that cold traffic. And then, like I said, when you track those early signals of engaged users, you can get predictive sales, and then you're optimizing the lake versus just the pipeline itself. And so, like I said, this is kind of the way that I like to think about marketing. You're optimizing the top of funnel more so than the middle of funnel and bottom of funnel. Don't fall prey to all the bells and whistles inside of these ad platforms, because they only really change 5% of the problem. The real reality is you need to focus on your actual cold and overall strategy of how you're going to, actually bring in cold traffic versus just following what the pipeline says is good or bad. And so hopefully this makes sense to you guys. If you've had a similar experience or you want some more clarity on this, comment below, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.